Hey everyone, you're here with Mark Batwell at perfectgardens.com. So today is the 4th week of flowering. Join our membership and get unlimited direct access to me. Sounds crazy? Here's the proof. And as you can see, check out our plants, looking really good. Earlier in this season, I got rid of 2 male plants, so as you can see, cut down. And of course, I have my other vegetable garden. I've been slowly allowing it to finish off, but also cutting away some of the foliage because it is getting some powdery mildew, as you can see. And I don't want that to be transferring over into my cannabis plants because the cannabis plants are susceptible to powdery mildew and spider mites and a few other pests and funguses. Although I just want to show you what plants should be looking like right at the beginning of the 4th week into flowering when they don't have any bug or mold problems, and also show you the difference between a Sativa strain versus an Indica strain, mainly being one strain's going to be finishing off a little later than the other strain. Some of the ways you will know the difference between an Indica and a Sativa is based upon the leaf and what it looks like. Is it thin and long, or is it fat and wide, as you can see these leaves? And also, as you also can tell, this flower development is a lot more further ahead than this one. So what most likely this one's going to be a 9-week flowering strain, most likely. So it won't be finishing off until the 1st week of October, and this one will probably finish off in the 2nd week of October. Most likely the 2nd week of October. So why is there a benefit of having Indica and Sativa strains throughout your entire grow? Well, this is a very natural and organic way of spreading out the workload during the harvesting, especially if you're going to be growing in production, you're growing hundreds, maybe even thousands of plants, or you're growing in acreage. This is a really great way of being able to plant an Indica side of your crop, and then you have a Sativa side and a few strains in between, especially because there are some Indica strains that will finish off as early as 7 weeks, 8 weeks, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13-week flowering strains. And if you are growing commercial production, it is nice to know when your strains are going to be finishing off so that you are being able to hire your work crew to come in at the right time and harvest, and you're not going to be losing out in any return on investment because you're unable to harvest your entire crop, and a lot of your crop ends up going to mold, or you end up leaving it in the field, which a lot of hemp growers end up doing. At least 30 or 40% of their crop ends up being left in the field just because they don't have the ability to harvest their grow. Also, you should not be having a lot of smell come off your plants right now in week 4. If you do have a lot of smell coming off, it's either because you're growing a strain that will finish off in 7 weeks, like a hash plant or a heavy indica plant, or if you do have smells coming off, it's because your plants are stressing out and they are finishing off and maturing a little bit faster than what you would actually be preferring them to. For me, I want to make sure my plants meet their full potential, and if they can get to their end of the growing season without having any serious problems, then I'm going to have a full terpene profile. I'm just not always looking for large chunky flowers. I'm always looking for the health of the plant, because if the plant's healthy, it's going to be able to finish off completely. And so what I mean a little bit more by that is, let's say this strain specifically was 11-week flowering strain. Well, if I stress this plant out over because it was having bug problems or mold or something like that, well, this plant would end up finishing off in week 10. Well, what does that do? That reduces my return on investment through my yield. But once again, if I'm going for that terpene count and that cannabis cup winning product, I've also shot myself in the foot because the terpene probably isn't as concentrated, or there might even be parts of the terpene profile that were never reached on the plant. And the only way you know that is by getting, let's say, a plant that finished off early and an exact same strain, you grow it right next to each other, let that one ends up growing off to the end, and then you get both the flower off one and the other in the same spot. You send them into your lab, and then at that point you'll be able to see exactly what I'm talking about. And every single time I do this, I always see a larger terpene count from the plants that are healthier. As you can also see in the beginning, when I was doing my training of my branches. Right here, I broke all my branches out. As you can see, it came all the way up, and the same thing goes to all the rest of them. As you see that main branch come through, it comes up and all the way around. This plant right here, I mean, right here, it's already 6 feet. If I did not do any of the training, this plant would probably be about 8 feet tall, maybe 8.5 feet tall. Same with the plant to the next of it. It would probably be about 6 feet, and I was able to cut off a foot, which makes my entire growing environment a lot more enjoyable, as well as I'm going to get a larger return on investment because the plant isn't growing all into itself at the very top. It's nice and open, and when the top finishes off, I'm going to harvest the tops. Then I'm going to give the bottom another week to finish off. I'm going to harvest that. Then I'm going to give the next bottom the maximum amount of time I can, and normally at that point I'm dealing with some colder temperature and the plant just won't finish off very much. Although I like to normally do 3 harvests, especially when I'm just growing my personal and I only have a few plants. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Once again, I really showed you this video specifically so you could see your plants on where they're at during week 4, whether you're growing a Sativa or whether you're growing an Indica. This is how your plants should be looking. Color, texture, leaves aren't getting crispy, no discoloration yet. As you can see right here, I just saw the first spot of powdery mildew right here. I'll take it off my plant. But for the most part, these plants should finish off pretty strong, because if I'm able to get into weeks 4 into flowering without any pest problems or mold problems, the plants will normally finish off pretty strong. If I run into problems prior to that, that's when I'm going to see a true effect of not meeting the plant's potential, because the plant's going into the main weeks of flowering, which are weeks 5, 6, and 7 specifically. But these plants are going to be growing into weeks 5, 6, and 7 strong. So I should really, if I allowed these plants to just coast and just watered them, these plants would end up producing a high return on investment and a high quality product, just because I'm not dealing with the pest problem prior to week 5, 6, and 7. Okay, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a great grow, everyone.